Well, hello and welcome back, garden friends. Got a great little episode for you. I'm just giving you a little update. We've been back at the school for about a week since our summer break, and I want to show off our vertical succulent garden and what it has looked like with zero maintenance for the last, I don't know, 2.5 months at least, almost 3 months. About easily over 2.5 months with no maintenance. I have had it on a timer. You can see there's the irrigation system built into the top. So we have misters on the outside, but there's actually drippers that are hidden underneath that, and they when the timer comes on, which is a little solar timer, it kicks on and then just kind of slowly puts out some water, and it goes obviously vertical and waters down. So we've got a few weeds that you can see have popped up. They kind of just fly in from the wind and from birds and whatnot. So we'll definitely have to remove some of those. It looks like they're getting enough water. I might even actually dial back the water just a hair because things are starting to cool off a little bit. And this side seems, it gets pretty good saturation. So I might dial it back just a little bit so these plants can breathe just a little bit better, a little bit more efficiently. But you can see there's also maybe a few spots where we might have lost a plant or two. So those will have to get replenished and refilled. And that might have even been empty right at the when I left. Actually, I just didn't get around to doing it before wife had the baby. But no, so you can see there's some weeds on the bottom too. So we'll do is we'll rip any weeds out. They'll probably come up really quick. And I might even put some gravel down in there, some mulch to kind of slow some of that down. You can see that all the excess water that comes off the wall, it feeds the weeds pretty well. So the concrete here has been torn up and chunked up. So it's really exposed. So if we either got to patch up and seal these cracks, but if, definitely we have to get those weeds out. So you can see on the front side here, and I'm going to go around the other side and I'll show you. But on the front side here, definitely it's growing well, but there's just a ton of little crabgrass that has flown in from the wind and birds and whatnot. And so today I'm going to get in there and I'm going to do a start to finish. We'll show you what it looks like now. Let me go take a little view from the other side so get this fence out of the way. All right, so as I mentioned, this wall's doing pretty good. It looks actually really healthy. The succulents are doing great, but what's the problem is they're doing so good, but they've actually got some friends in there that don't belong. You can see all this crabgrass is flown in and just finds a little pocket in the soil and takes off. Normally I get these when they're really small, and you almost never see them mature. Like they've actually gone to seed. That, like I said, that's how you can tell I've been away from this wall for a couple months. But I mean, imagine being away from your garden or your potted plants for 2 months. Would they all still be alive? You know, so it's I'm actually pretty stoked that the succulents, I mean, look at these. They're just really full and lush, and they'll do even better once I get all these weeds removed. And then we'll probably go through actually and do a light fertilizing as well. On this wall, we've used a mixture of different fertilizer types and kind of experimented. We've used some Osmocote, which is a chemical-based but slow-release fertilizer, but we've also used some organic fertilizers as well. So we'll see, but we'll see what we want to use this next time, but we'll definitely need to feed it, because you can see it's been growing and doing well all summer, but it's just, it's got a few weeds in it. So now on the back side, this is the side that gets morning shade and afternoon sun, and you can see it's doing pretty well, but there are just a few small weeds in there, not nearly as bad as that front side is. See if I can get that sunshine out of here, that glare. It's pretty tricky. But you see it's actually doing pretty well, so we'll have the students come in here and they'll help me, and we'll take care of all this. You can see there's just a few weeds in there, and then the weeds just compete for air and space and moisture and nutrition and sunlight and all that. So we don't want them in there. Once we get them gone, the succulents will do even better. Any open spots might just be filled in and start looking good, and that's what we want. We want it all nice and filled in to where we won't even see that wall anymore. We want it looking really nice. So it's time to get to work. I'm going to start doing all those things I mentioned. So I'm going to remove any weeds. I'm going to replace any plants, trim off any dead flowers, dead branches or material, although there isn't too much. And then we're going to fertilize as well. And so those are all the things we're going to do. And then we'll come back and take a look to see how it looks after a little bit of effort. All right, let's get to it. Well, after a little bit of work, thanks to myself, my students, and especially my new coworker, Mr. A. Thank you so much, Mr. A. You're awesome. I appreciate all the help. But look we got some of these weeds removed, trimmed back some old flower blossoms that were done blooming, did some deadheading. You can see the wall's looking pretty dang good. There's a few spots that I might replace some plants with some fresh ones or some varieties that I think will do better in this type of growing situation. Now, this is a succulent wall, but what I've learned is that, and you might even be able to notice yourself, just your observation, is that some varieties are doing really well in this type of situation. Like you see right here, I mean, they're just filling in nicely, really thick and lush. They don't mind the extreme situation of being planted in a tiny little pocket of felt. They're doing pretty well. Whereas some varieties, like you see like right here, they just got a little roasted. Like even, you know, we had some really hot weather. I don't know if you can see this, but they actually got, even succulents can get sunburn. You got all that sunburn right there. So what we do, water these properly. They get a nice watering several times a day, but it's a very small amount relatively to some plants. But even then, like I said, some varieties do better than others. So we just keep learning as we go, and you take what you learn and you move forward. And so it's, like I said, I think it's looking pretty good. Just wanted to show you a little update on this side. We still have a few gaps to add in. Of course, like as I probably mentioned, I'm gonna fill these in when the temperature cools a little bit. It's still in the high 90s, and it was over 100 a few times last week. But you can see we ripped the weeds out. We got some mulch in below this. The wall is looking great on this side, as the others as well. Not too bad, not too shabby. Most of these weeds have got removed. Let's out the top, so the pre-videos, but yeah, a lot of weeds growing through here that have just fallen in through the wind and birds and whatnot. But now it's looking pretty good. It's really lush. Even this backside, let me see if I can get this over the fence. You see the backside's looking pretty good too. I might actually do some more work in this in the near future, like I said, to replace some plants and do a few minor adjustments. But really, I want to wait until the temperature cools. Even though we're about middle of September or close to it, it's just too hot still. It's high 90s. It was like 100 degrees plus last week, several days. So it's been very warm. So even with succulents, it's just not ideal to be planting them when it's up over 95, 100 degrees, 105 especially. It's not necessary. So what we'll do is we'll come back, do some light fertilization when it cools down here a little bit. And like I said, maybe when temps get into like the low 80s, high 70s, then I can replace some of these plants that aren't looking as healthy as the rest, and then keep going. But for now, I'm really satisfied with this garden shed. This is like a metal shed. We use it just for storing some stuff here, just to show you that it actually is a shed. Show you what the inside looks like. Oh, I'm tripping over stuff, trying to get you a good image. And so here's the door. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So it is like an old metal army shed, and this is it right here. And so again, these different types of metal walls, like old electrical components that are all gutted and done for. But you can see right here, actually, here's the framing. So we got some pressure treated wood, and then that's the PVC plastic behind it. And then of course the felt is on the outside with plants. But that's it. It's pretty simple. I love growing this way. It's really fun. That's kind of cool to see the plants go nuts on it. And yeah, just a little bit of effort here in the late summer, and it's looking really good. But I think once the temps cool, these succulents are gonna love it a whole heck of a lot more. So until next time, garden friends, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're doing well. Garden well, be happy, and treat others wonderfully. We'll see you next time, garden friends.